Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
Oh, damn it. Hi, I'm Derek, and this is Chris. Welcome to The Cynical Nerd. How you doing today, Chris?
You're just forcing me into the beginning of the podcast. That's all you're doing. I want to get this show on the road.
Yeah,
you could have said that, and I would have understood. Yeah. All right, so a little BTS, right?
A little BTS.
A little behind the scenes,
Okay, hit me
if you
with
will.
it. Hit me.
We usually record the podcast on either a Sunday evening / afternoon or a Monday evening. Just how it figures out with our two schedules.
Yeah.
We both have about the same life schedules, so we could probably do it any night of the week. But my point is, we usually do it Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
This week we both were feeling a little under the weather, aka pooping and not feeling a little hungover.
Yeah.
Guess which is which from past podcasts. What do you think? And we decided to record on Monday instead. We decided very early Sunday morning, I think. Well, not very early, 10 a.m. It's not that early.
For a Sunday, pretty early, though, all things considered.
And I thought, nothing crazy is going to happen on a Sunday. And then the entire internet melted down because Will Smith smacked Chris Rock in the face. And I wasn't going to, I don't know. We were probably going to talk about it either way. I'm lying if I said we weren't going to talk about it. The problem is everyone and their mother has already beaten this conversation either into a horrible, horrible corner of wokeism or into just bad memes. Yeah. So we've already missed the train. It's okay. I'm all right with that.
Isn't that insane, though? You think about that? Like, it happened 24 hours ago. And every possible opinion that anyone could possibly have on
is
it
garbage.
Has been had like multiple times over. I just find that fascinating that the internet has made everything so quick that something that happened like I don't even think 24 hours ago,
less than 20,
has already had everything anybody could possibly say about it. It's been said already.
Don't get me wrong. Neither Derek or I are adding anything to this conversation. We just want to point two things out. One, I consider myself a fairly liberal person. Be whatever gender you want. I'll call you whatever pronoun you want. I don't care. Surprisingly, I think I'm more libertarian than most libertarians I know because I feel like everybody should be able to do whatever they want within reasonable constraints. As long as you're not infringing on someone else's freedoms, do whatever you want. It's basically what it comes down to in my mind. Yeah. As far as like who you marry and all that shit.
Right.
However, once you get too far to either side of the, political spectrum, I guess it is, or ideological spectrum, whether it be super far left, super far right, it's just insane anymore. Yeah. And my friends have been saying it for years, but like I'm now just full blown willing to admit that the far left is just a snake eating its own tail. Yeah. Like it's this garbage recycler and of conflicting ideologies that don't make any sense. And I found this best summed up with the discourse around Will Smith smacking Chris Rock in the mouth. You have people that are defending Will Smith and saying that the insults that Chris Rock was slinging were like ableist and just insanity. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but like comedians have been making fun of people for their body type, their race, like disabilities for as long as I can remember. And I do think that they should be allowed to do that because I feel like a really good mark of someone who's mentally healthy is someone that can laugh at themselves. Yeah. I have a mediocre sized penis. I tell the whole world all the time. I'm overweight and fat. I won't take my shirt off when I go in the pool because I have man titties. Like I don't care.
Oh, are you like that too? Are you a wear your shirt in the pool person?
100%.
All right.
And I didn't
feel
used to be
like so much stronger about our relationship now that I know if we're ever at a pool party together, I won't be the only asshole with a shirt on in the pool. So that's really comforting.
I was going to say Samantha's parents have a pool and they constantly tell us to bring Grayson and friends over. So you guys are more than welcome this summer.
All right, cool. I'll bring my shirt. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'll go I'll go to this gathering knowing full well we'll both be shirted and I won't have to be embarrassed. So my whole point is like, it's like an argument. Like on the one hand, the left would say that what Will Smith did was like toxic masculinity, and he you know, there's gender stereotypes of men having to defend their women, and she's perfectly capable. And then there's other people who are going, well, he's making fun of her condition, and he's being ableist, and he's saying all these terrible things. So there's people cheering Will Smith on, and it's like, what is it? Is toxic masculinity okay when he's smacking the people that you don't agree with? Like, that's where we are. And I know that it sounds right now like I'm just picking on the left. I swear to God, give me a week and the right will do something that I'll be complaining about. I could do that every week. We choose not to because we're not a political podcast.
Oh, they're already doing it. They're already saying that it's like a psyop to prevent us from Hunter Biden's laptop or something. It's like, Jesus, it's a fucking nightmare. I saw a couple of those today. Yeah.
And I just ranted for a while. So, Derek, do you have anything?
No, it's pretty much the only thing I have to add to it is that I really don't think like, I think that there's been this like the ideas of accepting, you know, like LGBT and gay people and stuff sort of originated on the left. And so like as that sort of, there's like this subgroup that formed of like what we call wokeism. I'm starting to hate that fucking term, but how else do you describe what we're talking about? But you sound like you're like on an Alex Jones podcast when you call it woke culture, but it's like, that's the only thing you can say that people go like, oh yeah, that I know what you're talking about. But even people like on the far left are like pulling away from that sort of like hyper fixation on like everything's a microaggression, everything is blah, blah, blah. And the hypocrisy, like what you're saying, like, first of all, like, I don't think, and if I'm wrong, I will be the first person that I'll be happy to apologize and just say that I got it wrong. I feel like I had no fucking idea that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that maybe Chris Rock didn't know that she had alopecia. And even if he didn't, you could still make a case and say, well, he's hosting the Academy Awards. One of the nominees is in the front row state. Maybe he should know what's going on in those people's lives. Okay, even that's fair. But the whole point is, if Will had just like taken the L and just gone and been cool and gone like, all right, we'd probably be saying today that Chris Rock was an asshole. Maybe not as much as we are saying that Will Smith is, but we'd probably be going, that was kind of a dick move on Chris's part to not, you know, like research that more or whatever, or research it and then still say it anyway. But no, it's like when you run up on stage and smack him, and then it was like the way they zoom in on Will Smith's face when he's yelling at him, and he just has this rage, and you can tell that
he's so fucking
mad. Like he's lost it, like he's unhinged, and
they would have full on started fist fighting if Chris Rock did anything remotely aggressive.
Yeah, and
like, he was ready to fucking ball.
The self like constraint that he showed was ridiculous. You can see it in his face for like 30 seconds after it happened. He's playing all the scenarios in his head. Like, I want to bring out classic Chris Rock and like tear this. I almost said Kid Rock and tear this dude apart. But like, I'm hosting the fucking Academy Awards right now. I have to play this cool. And he did. So props to him. But I don't even know what point I was rambling towards. But yeah, no, it's like anybody listening, you've been on the internet, you've heard all the sides, but I just think I agree, it's absurd. Like if you're going to condemn toxic masculinity and then have this couple, this fucking awful, unbearable family air their
God, they should just split up, right?
Yeah,
please.
Right. Like, and they air this whole thing publicly a year ago.
Go to counseling.
He clearly feels like emasculated, and he saw this as his moment to go like, I'm going to reclaim my manhood or my whatever. But he just looks like an asshole. Dude, he derailed the whole show. Apparently other like guests in attendance have said like the rest of the show was so weird. I don't know if you watched his acceptance speech for because he won I guess best actor or something. Dude, it's like frightening. He's like crying.
Did he win it
uncontrollably
after or before?
After, like right afterwards. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude, it's awful.
Hey, get on up here. We give you a platform to say whatever you want after you did that.
He's crying like, not like, oh, I'm so happy. He's crying like an insane person, like shaking and talking about how like he takes care of his family and he's wants to be a vessel of love. And dude, it's so bizarre. Dude, when we're done, you have to watch it. It's so bizarre.
And part of me feels a little bad for him. And I know that you don't.
No, I do. I really do.
Well, then I apologize for assuming what you were going to feel about him. And look, Derek called it. we've had conversations about Will Smith before, and you've said, I heard he was an asshole, and I kind of feel like he really is. Yeah. And I was like, oh, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Guess what? Will Smith's an asshole. At this moment in time, 2022 market, Will Smith is a gigantic asshole.
I feel like, you know, those like videos of people who were wrongfully convicted of a crime and they've been in jail for like 40 years and it shows them walking out of the prison and they like fall to their knees just like crying. That's what I feel like right now. Like I've just been vindicated. I feel just incredible. But anyway,
I hear Dashboard Confessional playing in the background. And look, I mean, so there's the point that a lot of people have been making about standing up for like the thing Will Smith did. There's a point where that's correct. So for example, and I mentioned this before we started podcasting today, I said, don't let me forget. I was driving home today and on the back of a fucking disgusting pickup truck was a sticker. And I mean, disgusting, like it was just not well taken care of. On the sticker said, Black Rifles Matter, which is a disgusting statement. It belittles the entire, Black Lives Matter movement, which was a legitimate movement. I mean, sure, it might have morphed into other things eventually, but like, I just don't see how anyone argues with the fact that at the time that movement started, there were, and still are, African Americans, Black Americans being killed by police in the news in horrible fashion. It seems like every other fucking week. That movement is serious. It should be taken seriously. And, well, like everything to a certain extent. But what I'm saying is, like, that sticker is meant to mock that movement. It either shows a gross misunderstanding of said movement or a willing, like, jab at it. And both are unacceptable to me. I think that sticker is disgusting. I think that person, I can judge them 1,000 yards away. Sure, it might not be fair. They might be a loving father, but they're kind of a piece of shit for that sticker. And that's, in my mind, like, you're making fun of a movement that's trying to call to the public's attention a real issue in America, as opposed to Chris Rock, who's a comedian, making a joke about a woman who's wearing proudly a bald head to a ceremony. I just, it's fucking crazy to me that people are sticking up for Will Smith.
Yeah.
Like the guy is like a simp for his own wife. Right.
But, just for context, Black Rifles Matter, which is like the core group is called Black Guns Matter. It was made by a libertarian guy, a black fellow over in Philadelphia, who the whole purpose of the movement was to educate. I didn't know that. Yeah, but continue. Educate young Black Americans about gun safety and basically encourage them to, exercise their Second Amendment rights. Because Black people are disproportionately killed by police in Philadelphia, like a lot of other cities. However, I will say, even though, like, frankly, I agree with the core concept of that movement. Obviously, Black Lives Matter predates that movement, and sort of co-opting the name of Black Lives Matter to get the name of your movement out there, I think is still kind of like, that never sat too well with me. But I don't know about the movement itself. Now, like, any given movement can have a name that's hard to disagree with. But, sometimes the things that they do aren't so great. So I don't really know anything about the movement itself. I just know that that's sort of their, like, mission statement, is basically to... And that's great information. And first and foremost, I didn't know that. And guess what? Shame on me. I should have looked it up before I started talking shit. The name, because of where I live and the type of vehicle that it was on, I made a lot of assumptions that it was, and I honestly would still, there's a 90% chance that sticker was bought by a white. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the other thing I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah. Like talk about, like, he's giving, the guy who started that movement is literally giving ammunition. Oh, what a pun I made there. Terrible pun. He's giving ammunition and stickers to the other side because they're so ignorant to a lot of the underlying information behind said movements that they probably thought, I own a rifle and fuck Black Lives Matter. So like, you know what I mean? Like, in extremely the fact that likely. I can, So, one, I should have looked it up. Thank you for the information. You're a doll, baby. Love you. And, okay. You haven't commented on my camera looking any better yet so far, and I'm upset about that. Well, now I'm gonna keep not doing it because I know you want me to, so I'm not going to.
No, it's okay.
Do you think that when Will and Jada left, whatever dude she's fucking was like, hey, Will, thanks for standing up for us, buddy, and then they got into a car together and just left?
Well, no. They probably all got into the same limo, and he said, hey, Will, thanks for sticking up for me, and then proceeded to start fucking Jada while Will Smith cried in the corner.
Will Smith was driving them home, chauffeuring them.
Yeah, and he
divider.
Yeah, he cups his ears and he goes, I smacked Chris Rock. I smacked Chris Rock. I smacked Chris Rock. I apologize. Hey, we have stuff to talk about.
Do. Quite a bit.
We don't usually talk about that kind of stuff on here, and we are not. This is not E-News. We are not TMZ.
No.
Maybe we're TMDs. Got him. Derek, how's your Monday going?
I had a hellacious day at work. Like, it was insanely busy. So like the Will Smith memes like really gave me just like a false sense of what the day was going to be like, because they started off great in the beginning, first couple hours. Every single one of them had me in tears. Yeah. And then both my day and the memes got worse throughout the day. Bofa? Bofa, yeah. So just happy to be home and talk about things now.
Yeah, I was like, normally on a Monday, I'm like, by the time I get home, exhausted. And I was tired, but like I was pumped to get in here and talk about some stuff. Yeah. I don't know why. We have a lot of main topics this week. Some are good, some are not. Some are new, some are old. But we're going to start off with Week in Review. This is the Cynical Nerd, episode 61. We are definitely, even though I'm not sure of the last episode number from the old days, definitely charting new territory right now into the unknown. So stick around. Maybe we'll keep doing this.
Maybe we'll do a couple more. Who knows? Handful.
Maybe just like just a couple.
We have to at least make it to the sex number. We have to get to the sex number and then we can stop. If we got to 420, that would be just incredible. But
that's the stretch goal. We'll see. We'll see how
sex number is totally achievable.
I don't want to do the math off the top of my head. That's several years worth of podcast though. I mean, there's 52 weeks in a year, so I mean, we're hey, you don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't be dead in that many years.
It's true. Maybe you won't.
Sorry, that got dark. What if I am?
Yeah, I don't want to consider that.
And like my son listens back to these when he gets older because he's got like at least 61 episodes
at a minimum
of his dad being a childish bastard. I love you, buddy. And then hears that and just starts weeping openly.
Yeah. Because he knows.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah. Well, no, what'll happen is he'll replace you as co-host and then it'll just be me and Gray.
True. He's funny enough. He could definitely do it.
I think he could. I think he could pull it off.
Yeah. He's pretty fun. He calls you Uncle Derek now, which I think is hilariously cute.
I love it. It warms my heart. It made everything just melt. All of my cells just melt together.
I'm not gonna lie. I told him to call you that the other day.
Totally okay. I accept that.
Right. Well, I mean, you got to train him,
yeah,
and then
of course you got to brainwash.
And then he got this new toy, and I won't go into detail because I did not plan on telling the story. And he got like this new toy, and it was a big pack of toys, one of which he already has. And he was like, he's got a friend at school named Dominic, which I think is adorable. I'm like, how would you play with Dominic today? He's like, yeah, I played superheroes. And he has this, it's like a Paw Patrol snowmobile for Everest. Yeah, Everest is the pup that goes in the snowmobile. So he had a spare, right? He had a spare snowmobile, no dog. And he's got a spare cop car to chase. I'm getting way scary at this. And he goes, Daddy, I want to give the snowmobile and the cop car to Dominic. And I said, oh, sweetie, that's really nice. And he goes, yeah, just like you're giving that controller to Uncle Derek.
What a fucking kid. Holy shit.
Dude, I was like...
Did you excuse yourself and sob like an asshole in the bathroom?
I didn't, but Samantha and I looked at each other, made puppy dog eyes, and I was like, Grayson, that's really nice. And I said, when you give them to him, just say, here, this is because you're my friend. And just, I was like, it's so great to give stuff to people you like. So I feel like, at least for today, really killing it as a parent.
I have to. That's what I was going to say. I have to imagine, like, we're not anywhere near that yet. Mine's not even walking yet. But I mean, like, I feel like when you witness your kid do something like that, you and the other parent have to just look at each other like, we are the fucking best parents on the face of the fucking planet. We are amazing. Like, it has to be the best feeling in the world.
Like, don't get me wrong. If I pick up a toy he's playing with, he's like, no, mine. But he's 3. Right. So, like, I expect that shit.
Give a little wiggle room, yeah.
Yeah. It's ups and downs. Okay. let's get into it. So we have a little bit of news for Week in Review. We have 3 trailers to talk about. 1 unexpected video game and 2 movie related, well, TV/movie. Our main topics this week are an extremely brief. I listen. If you're here today to hear us talk about human resources, we're probably going to give it less than 2 minutes. Jackass Forever and Halo Episode 1, which are both now on Paramount Plus. Oh boy.
Oh, I gotta cancel my thing. Oh, thank you for reminding me.
I was gonna take a screenshot. My phone went off today and I went, fucking thank you, past Chris, for making a reminder. They were gonna charge me tomorrow. If you're wondering, that service shit.
It's very bad.
We'll get there. We'll encompass bitching about Paramount Plus in the Jackass Forever Halo conversation. Our Flag Means Death Season 1 wrapped up. I have to blurt this out. What a weird, wonderful show that is.
I know.
I'm fucking in love with it. I wanted to save it.
Okay, we'll save it. But
but I wanted to just hit you up with so many comments the other night when I was finishing it, and I was like, you know what? We only have like a day, and I can wait. And then a blast from the past. We talked about reviewing/watching this movie when Dune came out because we were so happy with Denis Villeneuve. I don't know.
On the V train.
Denny V. We were so in love with Dune and like Arrival, like movies he had made that I was like, you know, it's one I haven't seen. Sicario. Let's fucking watch it. And we both watch it this week and have thoughts about that as well. I have one particular thought that I can't wait to get to. But we're going to start things off with some video game Week in Review news. 2 things about The Witcher. The first is that there's a Witcher 3 in-game secret that took 7 real years to unlock, and that's kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So look, Ron officially didn't do everything. She better log back in.
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil it here. So
everyone.
They did. Yeah, she did. You fucking liar. Ron, cover your ears right now if you don't want to know what it is. Well, I guess you wouldn't really know this unless you were looking for it.
Yeah.
A YouTuber, I'll give him credit. I don't know who this is, and I don't endorse their channel. X Latalis. Sorry, X Latalis. I don't. You could be running a weird anime tentacle porn YouTube channel, so I can't do it without, you know. But they discovered a secret following the Blood and Wine DLC. There's a character, Vivian Detabri, I think it's pronounced. She plays a pretty central role in the fucking expansion. She dies after 7 years in game, and first off, that's fucking just impressive that someone even had the idea to program that.
Well, it sounds like it was one guy. Like from reading this article, it sounds like it was like one developer who added that little nugget in there. Because I remember reading a quote that said like, "I can't believe they found my Easter egg," which is really some dedication to it. But my understanding is that the quest line is that like, I don't know, I guess you trade her soul or something with like you lift some curse with her by trading her soul with the soul of like a bird or something. And so since she like has that bird's soul, she has the lifespan of that bird, which is about 7 years. So once you pass 7 years in game time by either running your clock forward, or I guess that wouldn't work actually, running your like computer time forward, because that wouldn't be in game. So I guess you would have to really sit there and meditate for a day for 7 years worth of days. They said that you can either meditate in game to move the in-game clock forward 7 years, or using PC console commands to do it. Okay. So yeah, like you said, you can find her dead on like the floor of an inn after 7 years or something. It's just it's fucking crazy that they did that. If you want, wait, what is it? If you got to pay the troll toll if you want to get this bird soul. That works, right? That's one of my favorite It's Always Sunny bits of all time. And I don't have that many that I can just ramble off because I think the show's funny, but I think it's a little overrated. I'm sorry. Yeah,
sorry.
That's okay. It's especially just a little. Now.
Yeah. Rumham will forever be in my heart.
Yeah.
There's a lot of,
Now, people who are like,
hey, man.
Yeah, like when people quote that stuff, it's great. But whenever someone at work is like, hey, did you see the newest Always Sunny? I'm like, you have a bad sense of humor.
Gotcha.
I wait for like 3 seasons at a time of that to be out and then binge it. And I laugh like 4 times throughout the course of that entire thing.
But you still feel like you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I certainly do.
I agree.
I'm probably due for another catch up.
Yeah.
But now I have Dayman stuck in my head. Wow. Okay. Well, cool. Witcher 3 Easter egg. Speaking of The Witcher, there's officially a new Witcher game in development, and it sounds like it will not include Geralt, although we don't know for sure. I'm fine with that, I think. Yeah. I love him to death, and I would love to see more of him. But, you know, I don't know. Look, I've never read the books. I'm sure there's so much more stuff in the books than there is in the games, but I also feel like you put a nice bow on Geralt's saga, and it, you know, as long as the new character is well written, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I would also fall in love with it. It literally just says a new saga begins. This one's going to be built on Unreal Engine 5 rather than CD Projekt's Red Engine, which they're going to begin a multi-year partnership with Epic. And at first, I went "hut" in my throat because Epic's is "hut." However, they specifically said they will not be doing any kind of like released first on Epic platforms. Yeah. It's no exclusivity deal, which is nice that they're saying it on Front Street, and now we have it in writing in case, you know, they go back on their word and we can all hate them for it. Look, I don't know. Everybody loves the Witcher series, and if they make another baller one, they can probably win back some goodwill that they lost with the Cyberpunk launch.
I think that's 100% the reason they're going back to The Witcher. Like, honestly, I really do. I think that they know that did so well and was so critically acclaimed that after the shitstorm of Cyberpunk 2077, which Ron is playing right this second, by the way, she's on her second playthrough.
Oh shit, she beat it?
She beat it, and she's playing it another time. She 100%ed it the first time. And that was when it was buggy, and it's still pretty buggy.
Wow, I still have to go back and back and play it.
I played most of it, and I never beat, and I loved it. Like, I think it had bugs for sure, and it had huge frame rate issues, but overall, I mean, I have a pretty powerful PC, so I didn't really run into the issues that a lot of you like how we just snuck that in there. I didn't
nice
even,
humble brag,
or anything. Yeah. But anyway, so I think that this is their way of trying to like get people's good faith back. That being said, the thing that I agree, like Geralt had his story and it ended well. Same with Ciri. I feel some people were saying, what if you play as Ciri? The Ciri segments of 3 were my favorite personally, but I'm like, let's move on. You know, the biggest thing that I would miss about Geralt is his voice actor because he's incredible. And the exciting prospect of this is, if it does take place in, you're not, did they confirm you're not Geralt like that much we know for sure?
Not really.
Well, in any event, by the time we're playing The Witcher in Geralt's timeline, the secret to making new Witchers has been lost, which says to me, you would play in the past because unless you're playing as one of the other Witchers from Witcher 3, which in my opinion would just be weird if you were like Eskel or something. But so anyway, like going to a different time period and being able to explore it then might be kind of cool. Like maybe when the Witchers were at their height. I don't know. We'll see. There's like no information on this. So if you give me no information, then I'm just gonna fucking word vomit. But no, I'm up for it. I mean, I'm not as crazy about The Witcher as other people are, but it's a good game. Like, I'm not being a contrarian. It's an excellent game. But by the time I got like 2/3 of the way through that game, I was like, I am fucking ready for this game to be done
now. So there's a couple of trains of thought. I mean, it's either going to be a prequel or some are saying, and I can actually kind of see where they're coming from, that the medallion looks more akin to the School of the Lynx. Yeah. That, and I can kind of see it with the ears, and part of it's covered up, so there could be more to it. And the School of the Lynx was actually founded after like the downfall, the extinction of the School of the Wolf. With remaining members, you know, Eskel, Geralt, and Lambert separated after Vesemir's, spoiler alert, death. So I don't know if they like rediscover how to make Witchers or what.
You just made me sad just when you mentioned that part.
Oh,
Vesemir,
sorry,
Daddy Vesemir.
Daddy Vezi, the Vussy. So it's members of the School of the Cat and the School of the Wolf. Get it? Because they make like links. I don't know. That's not how it works in real life. If a cat and a wolf bang, you don't get a lynx. Don't go trying it.
Don't do it.
In fact, I'm pretty sure that the wolf just eats the cat. So, it doesn't really work out. But if that's the case, then you could still like it could be in the future, but not like crazy far, and you could still have like cameos from Geralt and people that you know and love. Either way, look, I mean, the School of the Lynx, like that's kind of considered like fanfic, like it didn't happen in the book or something weird like that. I don't fucking know. I'm not that. Again, I didn't read them.
Yeah,
not that far into it. But then again, the video game series takes a ton of liberties with the source material as well. So who gives a shit? Like, make a compelling story in that universe, and I'll play it.
Yeah, I feel like that formula though sucks in almost every scenario except for Metal Gear Solid 2,
or scenario.
You're a douche. Scenario. We'll just do something totally new.
Scenario.
Whenever it's like, oh, you're going to be the different person in the same time, and like people will make cameos. I feel like that always sucks, except MGS2. Holy shit, that game killed that. Because you're playing as like the hero, the badass in the first one, and then you're just some kid, and the badass comes and saves your ass throughout the game. I don't know. It's just cool to see him from a third person perspective.
And then you get to play as said badass.
In the beginning, you do. It's true.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was a tight game.
Oh, it's so good, dude. I just played it like 2 years ago. It was amazing. It's aged, but it's a very, very good game. It predicted like the entire like 20 teens. It's like prophetic. I'm serious. It's like insane how much it nailed about like information control and transfer of data. It uses the word memes like the actual word. Like it's very, which was a word before memes. I know that, but I'm just saying within context, it's kind of impressive.
He didn't like make it up or anything. Yeah. I just have very fond memories of being towards the end of that game when the system is kind of like going down. Oh, that was going to sound bad. Going down on itself, very Marilyn Manson-esque. When it was like crashing in on itself, and you're like mid-game play, and it says like "fission mailed," and like the words were all, I don't know.
And it makes you think you died, but you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. My brother-in-law used to say that to me all the time. "Fission mailed." I don't know. Brings back memories. Okay, more video game news. PlayStation opened up that purse. They opened up their purse. They bought another developer, Haven Studios, which is led by ex-assassins.
I was so confused.
Led by ex-assassins. Who's gonna foist? Led by ex-Assassin's Creed boss Jade Raymond. I don't know who that person is.
Jade Raymond is the stupidest name I've ever heard in my life. That guy totally made up his name when he was 26 years old. His name's like Gary Smith, and he wanted to come up with something cool, but it didn't work.
He's like he treats the video game industry like he was gonna play in like a rock band. I'm gonna come up with a cool stage name. They won't think I'm a legend unless it's a game by Jade.
Yeah. First day on the job as CEO. Hey Gary, actually it's Jade now.
Yeah. Okay. Whew.
We can move on from that part of it though. Yeah.
PlayStation's Poise opened up and they bought Haven. Let's see, what are they doing? Blah, 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 blah. We're thrilled. They're developing a new original IP for PlayStation. Whatever the game is, their first project will be a live service. Oh boy, I hate those words.
Yeah.
For PlayStation, built upon a systemic and evolving world focused on delivering freedom, thrill, and playfulness.
Oh, word salad. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. He said things. Yeah. He put together a new project lottery and just shook a thing and like pulled out some freedom, thrill, playfulness. Raymond came from EA and Google. He said they've already made amazing progress on the game. Oh, my phone literally was like, "Did you say my name? Huh? Did you see my name?" Literally just popped up. I was like, "What do you want, bro?" Fucking Google, man. Although, props to Google for reminding me to cancel Paramount Plus.
Yeah, also, fuck Google, but thank you, Google. We appreciate it.
Yeah, props to you, but like, you know what I'm talking about too often, and it creeps me out.
Stop listening.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Haven hasn't done anything before. They're working on a new IP for PlayStation, led by a guy who used to work on other games. The end. Any thoughts? I think I wrapped it up.
Not really. I mean, it's just. I guess it's good that their PlayStation is still sucking up studios, not quite at the rate that the mega
Somebody
billion-dollar company Microsoft can do. But I guess we're going to see the resegregation of video games coming, which could go one way or the other, frankly. So I don't know.
I was gonna say the great segregation, and my brain was like, no.
There's something about that that's just not right. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something says it's not right. Two very important things I have to tell you.
Tell me.
Dare Show.
Please.
One, Christopher Lloyd is still alive.
Excellent.
And two, he's been cast in a role in season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Huh.
Yeah, huh. I love Christopher Lloyd.
So do I.
I thought he was unexpectedly fucking hilarious in Nobody when he was the dad. He was badass with the shotty. But I mean, this man is old as hell.
Yeah.
So maybe I jinxed him by saying, guess what? He's still alive. But
tonight we're gonna get the report that he died.
Dude, I swear to God, if he dies tonight,
it would be a legendary episode if we called it like 2 hours before he died, though.
Here's the pun: nobody dies tonight. Oh, I'm so sorry. I take it back.
That's all right.
No idea what he or who he is playing. Of course, I doubt we'll find that out until the series comes on. They're pretty secretive.
Do you think he's going to be a character, or is it going to be like how Simon Pegg was in it? Like Daniel Craig was one of the stormtroopers in Force Awakens. Yeah. Simon Pegg was like one of the aliens. So I don't know if it's just going to be like an actual role or just like some guy in the background.
It's a guest star role. It's hard to say. I mean, they don't typically announce things like Daniel Craig as a stormtrooper. Yeah. That was more of an Easter egg that came out after the film came out. So, he'll probably just be a character that like guest stars in an episode or something. Maybe he'll come back for more than who the fuck knows. Let me just tell you, I can't wait for season 3 of Mando. I'm glad we got the season 3 prologue in Boba Fett. That was fun. Yeah. Ooh, tickles. We also have Obi-Wan coming out in like 2 months. It's 2 months away.
I'm watching the prequel trilogy to prepare.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I actually have Ron on board too, so we're going to do that together. And then we're going to watch Rogue One as well. And then I'm going to watch Obi-Wan. And then I'm going to not watch the rest of them because I just don't want to. I think the prequel trilogy is the most enjoyable out of all of them. I know that's like sacrilegious to say. I think that it has the best. Bear with me. I think it has the best writing overall. The dialogue is the weakest out of all of it.
Oh, you stole my point.
No,
I 100% agree.
Within a single scene, the writing is terrible. Like the way they talk to each other, it's unbearable. But like none of the other trilogies, especially the sequel trilogy, the newest one, they're all doing shit that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Like the overarching story is such a confused mess. Dude, everything that happens, if you really think about like from scene to scene, who's doing what and why, everything makes perfect sense in the prequel trilogy. So I'm actually looking forward to rewatching it.
Yeah, so I often refer back to when people talk about the prequel trilogy. I'm like, I 100% agree with you, and I'm not going to try not to belabor the point. I'm just going to add some depth to it. So,
right,
I totally
what I said
agree.
Was shallow. Okay.
No, it's not shallow. I'm just self-centered and feel like what I have to say is very important. Right. we're being honest here. The prequel trilogy, I think, hands down, has the best overarching story. Like kudos to George Lucas. Like the man cannot write dialogue, but to get the characters from where they start in the prequels to set up the fall of the Republic, how Palpatine was behind so much of it. It's all. I'm gonna say brilliant, and I don't think that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But Jesus Christ, I rewatched Revenge of the Sith recently, just because I think that movie's great, and it's got a lot of. It's definitely Hayden's best performance. He only had 2. Remember, Clone Wars was not good, performance-wise for him, I don't think, but he did a much better job, especially with the rage and stuff. Anyway. There's one scene that encapsulates so many of my problems with Star Wars, and it's when he's getting ready to leave and he's talking to Padme, and he's like, "You're so beautiful," and she says, "It's only because I'm so in love." No, it's because I'm so in love with you. Then love has blinded you? Well, that's not exactly what I meant. The dialogue is so fucking bad. No, it's because I'm so in love with you. No one talks like that. And it's so stupid, and the scene has like no purpose. Like you could have gotten through like most of that dialogue with like 2 lines and like a romantic kiss and a nice look or something. Like he's so bad at character dialogue that I wish someone had the balls to tell him. Like nobody ever will.
Yeah.
Because he's the fucking godfather of Star Wars. But I wish someone was like, I gotta tell you a hard truth, Mr. Lucas. I respect you because you have a wonderful imagination and you've thought of all these crazy things. And you've had I know that, you've taken cues from old samurais and Westerns, but you made this original thing. Well, mostly original, but you made this thing. But please, sir, please, you make the grand overarching story and let me write your character dialogue because you can't write for shit.
Yeah. As in you, Chris Reed.
That was the whole meeting. Yeah, as in me, Chris Reed. I'll do it. I'll tell him.
Written by George Lucas and Chris Reed.
What's he going to do? Fire me? I don't work for him. Can't fire me for being a fan. I would happily tell him to never write dialogue for a character ever again.
Yeah.
Please, give me your imagination. Let Filoni and Favreau pretty much do whatever they want, except for a season 2 of Boba Fett. Don't let them do that.
Not that.
They didn't... Whatever.
I actually am, like when we talked about the teaser, I know this isn't even what we're talking about. It's not even what the article was, but listeners, you have to come to expect that by now. I know initially when we talked about Obi-Wan, I did say that I was not discrediting the show, but I did say I was underwhelmed by the teaser trailer. And I do stick by that, but I'm getting more and more pumped for it. I'm getting more and more pumped for the show just because I linked that one edited thing Anakin forgets or whatever it's called.
You keep talking. I'm going to do Duel of Fates behind you. Just to help get people pumped.
Right. You got to get pumped up. I'm not going to be able to talk if you're doing that. But no, it just reminded me the one part I feel like even with the shitty dialogue writing, Ewan McGregor does those lines really well. Even if you were to implant them onto any other actor, it would come out bad, but he just knows how to bring life into it. I don't know. I'm so thinking about that. Yeah, it's still right, but it's like the most memorable
Such dumb line.
It is, but it's memorable. I don't know. I'm getting more, not that I was ever not on the train, but I'm more so like, all right, let me let this thing happen, and then I'll shit on it. Hopefully not,
I'm getting annoyed at there's a huge chunk of Star Wars fans that like to bitch whenever anything looks slightly different than what they think it's supposed to look like. Mm-hmm. So the Grand Inquisitor's in the trailer, and people are like freaking out because he doesn't look exactly like he does in the animated shows. Like, you guys are fucking dumb. Just shut up. Like, it's never going to translate to normal TV the same way, and they wanted to get a good actor in the role. Sorry, it sounds like I'm shitting on the voice actor. I'm not, but they have to cast for the actor's talent and not for if he fucking looks like the creature from the Star Wars show. Like, imagine if they were like, we need you to look like an egghead. Come on in, guys. Like, holy shit, we'd get some Humpty Dumpties. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's really insulting, and I didn't really mean it like that. Well, I guess I did, but all right, let's move on.
Yeah, alopecia is a requirement to audition for that.
You have to have alopecia and bags under your eyes so we can just color red. I don't know. Anyway, more video game news. Womp womp. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League from Rocksteady, which was supposed to come out this year, has been delayed into spring of 2023. Rocksteady has made a string of just bangers. In my opinion, they're like modern day Blizzard, circa like Diablo 2, when people just expect greatness from whatever comes out of them next. I had the logical part of my brain says this is good news. This means they're polishing the game off. They're making that it's a little dirty. Hey, they're polishing the game up, making it the best it can be. Maybe reworking the way the story takes you so it's more compelling. Whatever it is. Maybe they just need more time on working bugs out. Who fucking knows? But the logical person to me says this is good. I can't help but be disappointed because I want to play it.
Yeah.
I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I want to play it. I want to see it. I want to know
You
it.
want to polish it off.
I'm gonna polish it off pretty quickly, as fast as I can, both hands.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm looking forward to this as much as you are. Not that I don't love the Rocksteady games, and not that I'm not becoming more and more of a DC fan by the week. Veronica and I had a whole conversation about that last night.
Yay!
And speaking of, do we have the?
We don't, but I'm going to talk about it.
Okay, cool.
You talking about the Oscar thing?
No, the deleted scene from Batman. Is that in the doc?
Oh, absolutely. It's in the doc, yeah.
So I totally forget my train of thought. So anyway, I remember it now. And it was that I'm trying to train myself to not get upset with video game delays anymore, because I feel like to be the kind of person that complains about bugs being in games that release, I just noticed that. While also complaining about, delays just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'd rather the game just take longer and come out totally complete. But, when Elden Ring got delayed, I was bummed. So it's not like it's a unrealistic reaction to it. But overall, hopefully it works out. Sometimes too many delays, though, is like a really bad. It's like a show of incompetence.
Yeah, that's also true.
So like 1 or 2 is not a big deal. Once you get into like 4 or 5, it's like, that's kind of a red flag.
Arkham Knight was overall a fairly solid game. Definitely a great Batman gameplay experience. Once again, I've mentioned this multiple times. Too much Batmobile, but that's it. Mm-hmm. However, the PC port of that game was delayed by like a long time after the console port. And that, in hindsight, was a warning sign. The PC port of that game was a nightmare when it came out. Mm-hmm. It did not run well. Not 100% Rocksteady's fault. The PC port's handled by another studio. However, I mean, quality control. You have your fucking name on it. You would think that they would be like, yeah, we can't release this.
Do that a lot, and I'm kind of like, I don't buy that. Like, if you outsource it to a company, exactly, like you still made the base game, you should be outsourcing it to a company who can fucking accomplish that goal.
Right.
Otherwise, it reflects badly on you. I mean, I don't know.
Right. If you're like the supervisor of a grocery store employee and he curses somebody out, you're ultimately going to be getting in trouble because you allowed that to happen or fostered it in your watch. I don't know. Couple things. ADD time. Ready? 1, holy shit, it's freezing out today. It's March 28th, 2022 in the northeast of the US, where it's typically warming up for spring this time of year, and it fucking was snowing when I walked upstairs.
It was ridiculous. I think that this is the new like Puxatawny Phil thing. Like, instead of the Groundhog's Day, I think it's like anytime Will Smith smacks someone or has a mental breakdown, we get like 3 more weeks of winter. I think that's what that was.
Did Will Smith assault another celebrity? Nope. 3 more weeks of winter. Oh, dude, I have to. Oh, that's the thumbnail.
Is it Will Smith coming out of a groundhog hole and smacking Chris Rock?
No, it's Chris Rock coming out of a groundhog hole and Will Smith smacking him back down. It's like whack-a-mole.
Okay, yeah, your idea is better.
I got to write that down before I forget. Will Smith, whack-a-mole.
Will Smith Whack-a-Mole is a really good title too, incidentally.
All right, fair enough. I mean, it does have alliteration, and we all know that I'm a fan of alliteration. The other thing I was going to say was the Oscars obviously happened last night. There was a Twitter award for that's what it was. It wasn't like an official Oscar thing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't official. You know what the fuck I'm saying. It was an Oscar social media thing. It was best cheer moment in a superhero film. And because the Snyderverse peons are many, the Flash running back in time and Zack Snyder's Justice League won. And it was a nice nod. I got to be honest with you. It's something voted for by people, so it's not like they had an unfair advantage. Like, anybody on Twitter could vote for it. And we talked about that scene. It gave me fucking chills the first time I saw it.
I'm getting it right now.
I watched it again because of the win, and I was just like, oh, it's so good. The little speech he gives himself when he goes to take off, so I'm like, ah. Anyway, I think that was the end of my ADD rant. Yeah, okay.
All right.
We're good.
On to trailers.
The first is another video game. It's the only one of the trailers we have. A surprise Ghostbusters game that no one saw coming from, I don't know, the fucking developers. Who's making it? I don't know. Ilphonic? Yeah, Ilphonic. No idea who they are. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed is coming to a platform near you. Look, somebody at Columbia said, there's been a rash of I forget what they're called. There's a specific name for the asymmetric games where it's 4v1 and there's like a monster scenario, tomato. Yeah. Twat or a normal person. I don't know. Twat or cunt. No, it didn't really work. I was trying. Sorry. Hyper tonight. But there's been a rash of these asymmetric shooters. There's been a rash of oh my God, I'm blanking. What the fuck is the paranormal investigation where there's like 4 of you on a team and you go to find a ghost in a house?
I think it's called a paranormal investigation where your team to go find a ghost in a house. I think it's the whole genre name.
It's literally in my fucking library. Why can I not remember what it's called? Holy shit.
The game, like a title of a game, Pacify, Phasmophobia.
That's the Phasmophobia, okay. Yeah. Where you play as a team of 4 people, you take tools and you try to find a ghost, and then you try to take pictures of it and shit. Someone at Columbia Pictures saw that and went, "We have a movie property called Ghostbusters where you hunt ghosts. What if we make that game, but you hunt ghosts, you trap them? It's a little less be constantly horrified of your scream, a little more fun." And decided to make a video game. I gotta tell you, we talked about Ghostbusters Afterlife and we're mostly positive on it, despite it reeking of like just these transparent attempts to pull your heartstring and like open up your purse to pay money to see it, which we didn't do, by the way. Didn't get us. This game looks like a blatant attempt to get me to buy it. And if it looks like this trailer, I'm probably going to do that. Yeah. It looks fun to me.
It does. I agree. And Bussin makes me feel good. What can I say? Did you play it was called Ghostbusters? I don't know, something or other.
Oh my God, Ghostbussin. That's the title.
This game is Ghostbussin.
It's gonna be Ghostbussin. Oh no.
Did you play the one with like they got like most of the original cast to do the VA work?
I don't think the title. Yes, hang on. I don't think the title could just be episode 61 Ghostbussin. Well, maybe it can. That's pretty good. I was gonna say like, how do you incorporate that into a sentence without making it over? It's got to be very short.
Yeah.
For an episode title. I don't know. Ghostbussin, Spirits Unleashed. That all makes sense. Anyway, what were you saying? Yes, I did play the voice acted. I rather enjoyed that game.
So did I. It was a stupid good time. And sometimes stupid good times are the best times. Like it's just you and 3 of your buddies. The like lassoing in it was really fun. You always had to have one person throw down the trap, and now you have one person who doesn't have the ghost lassoed. There was cool little strategic elements to it. This one looks like there's like you unlock ghosts as you play, and then like you just keep throwing your onslaught of ghosts at the team of 4. You just sort of pick another one and try again. It could be, I don't know what I'm saying that's funny, and I'm very curious. I want to know what's on your mind.
I'm still laughing at Ghostbussin. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's it. It has Fortnite graphics, which immediately turns me off of it, but like enough of what was going on in the actual gameplay seemed cool. But it was also very short. So like when you have a game like we reviewed Hogwarts Legacy last week, and they showed so much of that, you would have to seriously be hiding some glaring fault for that to not be, you know what I mean? But when you have like a 45-second long gameplay trailer, it's like there is so much that you can hide. So,
it's true.
You know, we'll see.
I have to send you this picture. I don't know what this is from. I apologize to the people listening. Audibly, sure. Listening to the audio only version for me doing this, because I used to hate when we'd be in the middle of a conversation and one of us would be like, "Wait, everybody, look at this picture." But there's a little. It's called the Happy Hamsters. And it says "Go Ghostbustin'," and I just imagine that saying "Ghostbussin," and like, but everything else staying the same. And it was tickling me. I couldn't help myself. I apologize.
It looks like a serious copyright infringement. I have to be honest. I'm guessing this predates the Ghostbusters.
1984. I don't know when that came out. It can't predate. It's like they're wearing the costumes.
Oh, that's true. So they're just okay. It's a crossover. The Happy Hamsters were probably some weird 80s kids book or something. That's
it's got to be something that paid for rights, because like there's literally songs like the Ghostbusters song. Oh my God. Side 1, Ghostbusters, Imperial March from Star Wars, Hall & Oates, Maneater. What combination of songs is this? Somebody's Watching Me from Rockwell. I want this CD. Can I listen to this CD? Dude, Hall & Oates, Maneater's a great song.
Yeah.
Oh, there she goes. She's a Ghostbussin. Okay. I think the game looks fun. I hope it's good. We'll move on. Well, this is a weird one. I saw this trailer and I thought, I'd like to tell Derek that I'm going to watch this. That's the whole reason I'm bringing it up.
All right,
that's it.
tell me.
So, I had never heard of this guy before. Jimmy Savile, I think it's his name.
Sure.
I don't think it's Savile. I think it's Savile because he's a very white bread guy.
Yeah.
He's from England. That's all you need to know. Sorry, everybody else from the UK.
We've already alienated them enough.
Yeah.
They're not here anymore.
Yeah, it's true. That's right. Oh, really? One of the UK's most beloved TV personalities. I didn't know a whole bunch about him when I looked him up, and I think this trailer is cut very well.
Extremely.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad you agree, because I would have been like, I don't know who you are if you don't agree with me. And the trailer's cut unbelievably. He was like a beloved TV personality. He was always he was a real funny guy. I kind of like a Johnny Carson almost, I would say, to the UK. Obviously not as popular because he didn't catch on over in America. He's really just a UK TV personality, but he did TV shows with children on it all the time, and he knew the Beatles and all these famous people. And there's the beginning of the trailer is so like such a loving portrayal of him, and then it just turns because a whole bunch of shit came out about this guy. Here's a number that should shock you: 450 allegations of sexual assault and abuse with victims as young as 5.
Jesus.
Like a very, very terrible person. And he died in 2011. And unfortunately for the whole world, and especially his victims, he did not suffer for this before he died. Like, this all came out after his death.
Yeah.
Which makes me, I think, the angriest is that he got away with it. Like, he lived his life, he died, and then all this shit came out. And that's the only sad part to me about this whole thing. I mean, it's not true. The abuse is very sad. That sounds horrible.
Yeah. The only sad part is that.
I'm so sorry.
All those 450 kids, I guess that's a little sad.
He seems like a monster.
Total piece.
I can't wait to watch it. And Netflix has had this obsession with like crime dramas and shit. And it's like there's so many of them. They're like the bargain bin at Walmart now on Netflix. But every once in a while, there's a gem in there. And I really can't wait for this to come out. Yeah, that's kind of it. I kind of can't wait for it to come out.
It was very chilling. I agree. Like when I first loaded up the trailer, I'm like, what could this possibly be? But it just cut in a very good way. I like serial killer documentaries. I just like, he was a serial abuser. I don't think he killed anyone, but same effect. I like those sort of like close-up looks into the mind of a fucking insane person because I'm a white guy and white people just like that shit for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's like it's like a social phenomenon. Yeah, I don't know. Like other people don't like, that's a white person thing. But in any event, like, I hate to precede a joke by saying that I'm just kidding, but since we're talking about 450 kids, I'm going to make an exception and just say, guys, I'm just kidding what I'm about to say. But I can't imagine ever being afraid of a guy that's that overtly and stereotypically British looking. Like, can you imagine that guy, like, sticking a knife in your back and, like, give me a wallet, mate, then we'll go back to my flat, right? Like, he's just his hair curls out at the end. It's like white blonde. It's like Children of the Corn blonde. His like teeth like jut out. He's like whoever the British, like their biggest enemy. Like it's as if their like propaganda cartoonist drew a picture of a British person. That's exactly what this guy looks like. That was Jimmy Savile, Savile. Feel free, listeners, to look that up.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, just kidding. Of course, this guy's a terrible person. Of course, he should be afraid of someone who has abused children. Just a little joke.
It's okay.
I got a laugh out of Ron. I didn't get one out of you, but I got one out of Ron, which is just going to reinforce my toxic behavior. So thanks, Ron.
Hi, Ron. Don't listen to the beginning. I spoiled the Wisher 3 Easter egg for you. Okay, one more video, and then we're on to our main topic. So you mentioned this earlier, but Matt Reeves talked about shortly after the Batman came out, and Derek and I cleaned ourselves up with a towel. Matt Reeves had spoken about that scene. There's obviously, well understood at this point. There's a Joker cameo towards the end where he's talking to Riddler in Arkham, and it felt tacked on. Even I definitely agree. I think that's the weakest part of the film, just because it feels like sequel bait, and that movie doesn't need it. The movie's such a nice, complete package, and I can't wait to fucking watch it again. I watched the ending scene that I sent you that one night late at night, and I was like, this is so good. Anyway, he came out and talked about it after the movie came out and said that there was a deleted scene earlier in the film that was longer, and it was between Batman and the Joker, and he decided to cut it because he thought it felt disjointed or something. I don't know the exact contents, but he said he was probably going to release it. Sorry. Getting excited. After the film came out. He did just that last week. He released it. It's a deleted Arkham scene. It's a 5-minute deleted scene of Batman going into Arkham. This looks to be mid-movie somewhere. He's not captured the Riddler yet. None of that's happened. He's still trying to understand Riddler, his motives, what he wants. He comes in to visit Barry Keoghan, Druig, his character, who's playing the Joker, to get his advice, basically. And so two things. One, and I've said this to you, you haven't said anything to me about the scene, and I know that you were saving it for the pod. I didn't make a fuss about it. I wanted you to tell me so bad, but that's okay, because we're here now.
We are.
Here we are. One, I think, and I don't know if you agree with me, because you haven't told me, that I would 1,000, and the more time that goes by, the more I feel this way. I would 1,000% have rather have had this scene in the film than the Joker teaser at the end with Riddler. Agree or disagree?
I would have rather had neither.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me continue then before you shit on that. Yeah. So a couple of things, just from my perspective, before I let Derek ruin my day. Doing what he's doing, going into Arkham and talking to villains he's captured, is a very Batman thing. He's done this in graphic novels. He's done this in the TV show. Being world's greatest detective, he likes to try to get the criminal perspective. He likes to try and get into his foes' minds, whatever. And I liked the scene. I thought it would have felt like a detour. You'd have been like, what? That was okay. Now we're back to the story. I get that. I do, but I would have rather have had this than the whatever weird teaser was at the end. And I guess I can see what you're saying. You'd rather not have had both, but I just enjoyed this scene so much. I think Barry Keoghan does an awesome job, and he looks grotesque as the Joker. I'm holding up my hands as if like chef's kiss. I loved the dialogue in this scene. There's you can see the beginnings of this obsession with Batman that he's got. I'll let you go because I'm going to talk about specific lines of dialogue, and that might be too dissecty for my intro thoughts here. In fact, I know it is, which is why I'm saying, Derek, how did you feel about this deleted scene?
So I liked the scene. It's not that it was bad. It's not that Barry Keoghan did a bad job. It's not that, I liked, I think what you were about to dive into is there's sort of the way that he plays with Batman. He toys with him. There's a part where I don't even remember what he says, but Batman just goes all right, we're not on me. We're talking about this. You can see he got to him a little bit.
And Joker says, but you're so much more fun.
Yeah. But here's the thing. And I know I'm not coming out with this I have such a different, unique opinion. I know this is the general consensus is that I'm just tired of seeing Joker. We've seen him in enough ways through enough iterations. And he seems like anytime Batman is mentioned in anything, it's like Joker is this point of singularity. Everything eventually leads to the Joker every single time. And it's I feel like Heath Ledger did, in my opinion, as someone who didn't read the comic books, I feel like he did a good job. My personal favorite was Joaquin's, which is like not true to the comic books at all, but was like an interesting character study. He's my favorite. And I just feel like then you had Leto, who did a terrible job. And even Nicholson's is like, at the time, I think it was good, but when you look through it, back in time, it's not so good.
Well, that didn't work to mute me at all. Sorry for that.
Yeah. So it's not that Barry Keoghan did a bad job, because he didn't. He was horrifying looking. The scene was good, but I just like, I feel like when you have a movie about Riddler and he's so good in it, like his arc is so good, his motives make sense. You can see a crazy like incel army leader doing, trying to pull something like that off. But then when you have like, let's just get away from the deleted scene for a minute. In the end, he's just next to the Joker. It's like, yeah, okay. So the Joker's the real villain. And eventually, if it's not the next movie, it'll be the third one is when the showdown goes on. So Veronica and I actually talked about this for like 20 minutes last night. And my ultimate thing is this. I think if they approach the Joker in a new way, as not like the antithesis to Batman, but like this necessary pill that he has to swallow from time to time, it would be a fun new take on the Joker. So that's what I mean. I don't hate this deleted scene. I wasn't like, I can't wait for this to be over. It was an interesting scene. There was an interesting dynamic. And I'm like, well, what if he's sort of throughout this iteration of Batman, like his consultant? Or even maybe he's never the main villain, but he's sort of in there in some way, like influencing things. But it's just not all coming down to Batman versus Joker in the third act or something. Like, I'm just tired of I've just seen it enough. Like the best people you could have got to do it have done it. And it's not that Barry Keoghan he's an up and coming actor. He's excellent. I love him in everything I see him in. Even when the rest of the movie is not great, he shines in his role. But it's just sort of like you have Mark Hamill voicing him. You have Heath's performance, you have Joaquin's performance, like just it's been done so well. Just do another. There are so many great villains that have such good backstories, and none of them are explored like nearly as much as they should be. So those are actually my final thoughts, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on the dialogue on it. But I ultimately I liked it, but if it was up to me, I would have had neither scene in the movie.
Here are my hopes and dreams, and if they come true, and there's some evidence to suggest that it might. Obviously it's still extremely early and things are very fluid and prone to change, especially in Hollywood. But I hope, and I have a slight inclination that you're gonna kind of get what you want and kind of not. I don't think they're gonna have Joker be a main villain for the second movie. Matt Reeves has more or less said things to that effect. I mean, just the parallels alone to The Dark Knight, right? Like the sequel has Joker. I don't necessarily think he would do that. Instead, I think he would have Joker with a slightly larger role in 2, maybe doing something nefarious behind the scenes, trying to influence events outside of Arkham somehow. Because Reeves has said again publicly that he thinks he's got a pretty cool take on making a grounded Mr. Freeze, which is a heartbreaking story of him just trying to save his wife. And I think that could be wonderful. But with Joker in the background and Penguin fucking things up. And then I think ultimately they would put him in 3, final act, because unfortunately he is, Batman's main, antagonist antagonist. So I think, like you said, I mean, I know that you said you don't really want him, third act, but I think he would literally be third act of the trilogy, probably. I hope so. I really would not want to see him in 2, unless he would have to come up with a script that's like mind blowing. Like we'd have to watch. He'd have to strike gold again. He'd have to make another The Batman where it's so good that I don't care that they're doing it again. But I can completely understand where you're coming from. Like you said, we've gotten so many. Holy shit. I literally Ron just scared the hell out of me.
You just thought there was a ghost behind me?
No, here's how dumb my brain is. I looked at your feed while I was talking, and for a split second, because your lights are blue and my light's blue, thought I was looking at my reflection and that Samantha just stood up behind me in like what would be Sadie's corner where her food is. And I was like, ha! Anyway, sorry. Stupid brain, stupid band brain. I got Batman on my mind. I can't help it. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Look, I can completely understand where you're coming from. We've had Heath, Joaquin. I'm not going to, belabor the point. Barry Keoghan's take is interesting to me just because of what they've chosen to do physically. He looks grotesque, which is, Heath had the scars, but otherwise he's Heath Ledger. He not a bad looking guy, even with some weird scars on his face. And it's so funny because I would say the same thing about Heath Ledger's Joker that I've said about Christian Bale's Batman, which is that they are so close to my brain's ideal versions of those characters, but there's like a little bit off. Mm-hmm. But look, I'm not going to, this is a 5-minute scene. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Some of the dialogue I loved. There's very clear. I love that there's already history between them. I love it because much like we've seen Batman's parents die 1,000 times and they thankfully didn't make us watch it again.
Yeah.
Everybody fucking knows who the Joker is and his relationship to Batman. Everybody, public fucking knowledge. So introducing him in this way where, Batman's encountered him before and locked him up, and maybe he's proto Joker. Maybe he's not fully formed yet, but you can see it because he comes with Riddler's folder. Al Roker. Yeah, right. I don't know why he's in this movie. He shows up with Riddler's folder and immediately their dynamic comes out. He says, "A present?" He's like, "It's almost our anniversary." Yeah. Like really creepy. And then he like when he's pulling it in, he says, "First anniversary is paper." And he like takes it out and looks at it. And this whole, it's just so fascinating. The dialogue is written so well. It paints a picture of this. Maybe he's not 100% there yet, but he's building this obsession with Batman. And it's just so well choreographed or it's not the word I'm looking for, telegraphed in this scene. He's like you said, he gets mad and he's like, "We're not talking about me." And he says, "But you're so much more interesting." Yeah. And then his little his laughs were creepy enough that they got me. Reeves said he was really going for he wanted Barry to do a fresh take, obviously, but also to bring Joker a little bit back to his roots, like The Man Who Laughs, played by Conrad Veidt, I think, where he's actually got a condition where he laughs at stuff that he doesn't mean to laugh at. Yeah. And he said there's a little bit of that in there, but this Joker is like a killer and a crazy person, and he likes to see how his condition makes people uncomfortable, and he toys with them. And I really enjoyed it looks like he's gross to look at, and it looks like he's pulling his hair out. And I think Batman looks disgusted with him the whole time. Mm-hmm. He's like, why did you don't, he's like, "You think I'm so cheap?" And Batman was like, "I thought you'd want to see." He's basically like, "I know you're fucking nibby. You're fucking curious." Yeah. All right. I've rambled enough. I thought the scene was great. I can 1,000% see where you're coming from. And I hope that he is not a forefront villain in the second one and is at most a background player. I'd love to see more of him, though, honestly.
Veronica pointed out to me, I don't know if you caught this, but when he hands him his folder, there's a paperclip on the outside. And when he gives it back to him, the paperclip is gone. And so, not that it matters because it's a deleted scene, right? So it's not like it's something that happened in the full release of the movie that's going to have some consequence in the second. But I just did think that was, I didn't even catch it. She did. I just thought that was a cool, I don't know. I just think that was
sometimes neat. I wish I could summon gifts while we're talking, and I would summon Clever Girl from Jurassic Park right now. That was for you, Ron. All right, Batman deleted scene. How's your bladder doing?
I can do it. I think I can do it.
Oh, we don't worry.
I feel like a couple of these are going to be pretty quick, so.
Yeah, they are. Okay. Questions at thecynicalnerd.com if you want to email us. We don't have any this week. That makes me sad, and I like to read your emails. So send us one or 5. I'll read all of them. Unless they're like a dick pic, and then I'll just download it and jerk off off camera because I'm not that kind of pedophile.
What kind of pedophile are you?
Yeah, okay.
You just
that sounded bad. You know what I meant was that that sounds really bad because it sounds like at a base level, at the very least, I'm equating someone who masturbates to pictures of dicks with pedophiles, and I don't mean that. I'm sorry.
Not at all.
That was bad brain. Anyway, okay, so email us at questions@thecynicalnerd.com. Don't send dick pics because I don't want to have to make any more weird conversational faux pas. You can tweet at us at The Cynical Nerd. Hashtag AskTCN. If you want to ask us a question, we will answer it. Hashtag FuckTCN if we have messed something up.
Hashtag I stand with Chris if you mean Chris Reed or Chris Rock. Either one works.
Hashtag if you stand with Will Smith, delete the podcast.
Yeah.
We have no problem dividing our listener base.
Yeah.
We've done it before. We'll do it again. The furries, weebs, Avassi, all mateys. I don't know. There's Pirates talk this week. Walk the plank. There you go. That's it, right? Facebook.com/thecynicalnerd. Dude, I'm on like Adderall right now. I'm not actually, but I feel like I'm
right. Natural Adderall. Some Adderall.
Yeah. It's called Derek. I see you and I just get all
That's right. You
excited.
just get amped up. Hyper focused.
Yeah, amp it. Okay, so speaking of hyper, let's speed through this first one because I've got nothing. I'm sorry. We always try not to say I've got nothing to say about this, but sometimes it's just true.
Nothing to say. Like sometimes it's just like with this show, Human Resources. Sorry to take your announcer duties here. We missed it last week, and when you were like, I didn't watch it, in my head I'm like, it's okay. It's okay that you didn't watch it. This is the show, listeners, you'll remember that is a knockoff of not a knockoff, spin-off of what's it called?
It's okay. At least you didn't say pedophile.
I didn't say pedophile. So, this show is a pedophile of Big Mouth. And as you know, small amount of laughs as I get from Big Mouths, I somehow get even less from this. It's just not.
Oh God, it was awful.
It's not good. Like it's not funny. Like there's nothing. The humor is not thought out. There was like a line or two that was kind of like, and that's it. There's no big laughs to be had. The premise is dumb. They want you to feel for whoever the main bee chick. I don't even remember her name. I don't know any of their names.
It doesn't matter.
It's nonsense. The show is bad. It's a bad
Logic
show.
Rock. The one good line Logic Rock had, he said in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what's his name? Randall Park, who obviously is a great guy, but I'm not watching any more of this.
No, I almost didn't even finish episode 2, and then I thought, you know what? I said I would, and I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah,
and
I fell asleep halfway through it,
attention.
and then I had to go back and like rewatch it because I'm like, I don't remember where I fell asleep, so it was like kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't have anything useful to add to this conversation. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm sorry that I made you watch it.
That's okay.
I'm sorry that I watched it. I'm sorry to myself. I need to love myself more than this show. I think Big Mouth is funny most of the time. Sometimes they just drop into musical for no reason, and those things aren't funny for me. They keep doing it too. It's like a recurring thing. Right. I do not find it funny. Human Resources is like, it's like someone at Netflix said, "Oh my God, everything you've ever done, Nick Kroll, has been hilarious. Just keep doing you and amp it up to 11." And he was like, oh, cool, I got this other idea. And they're like, do it. Just whatever you want. And he was like, okay. And that's the show. And Nick Kroll has funny moments. He can be a good writer. But I feel like he has to be tempered by someone.
This show is trying way too hard. It's so like...
That's what it is.
I don't mind crass humor, but this is just like overly like they're fucking in the lunchroom. Like, I'm going to coat tits her face. It's like every second is
I'm a child, so I like that.
Well, yeah, but I mean like it's nonstop. It's like constant jokes like that. I don't know. It just doesn't end. It's like, holy shit, take a breather.
Yeah. And then the concept of them having, here's the thing. It's exactly what I was trying to pinpoint. The concept of having these creatures that manage human emotions is clever to me. However, it's something that should not be fully explored. It works best in Big Mouth, where you get little bits of it. Yeah. And every once in a while they go, oh, it's the anxiety, whatever, mosquito or whatever that thing is. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, sure, I can imagine a creature like that being responsible for it. Haha. That's it. That's all. I don't need to see that thing in a show and have a storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I halfway through the first one, I was like, I made a mistake. And not only have I done this to myself, I've done it to my good friend, and I must atone for that.
You must.
And to atone for that, we'll move on very swiftly to Jackass Forever. And I would like you to tell me about your experience with it before I go, just to keep up the routine. I want you to go first again.
So main topic number 2 is a little movie called Jackass Forever. You may remember the Jackass series starting off as a show on MTV. They went on to produce 3 movies. I forget their names, so I already just lost the bit. It's gone. I lost my flow. Well, 10 years later, after Jackass 3 was released, they've now released a 4th movie entitled Jackass Forever, where most of the crew who didn't die or have severe drug addictions all got back together. They supplemented they supplemented the dead and drug addicted ones with some younger people, which was actually very comforting to me. This is not a joke.
Yeah.
It was comforting to me because I was genuinely worried about the older dudes getting hurt. And so it seemed like the really crazy shit the young guys did. Like the really crazy physical stunts, like going down the slide and shit, like they were doing that, with some exceptions. Johnny Knoxville broke his fucking wrist and got knocked unconscious by a bull, but a lot of the skits were really good. It was really heartwarming, like just to like, I'm like, I watched this as a kid. And of course, I mentioned it on the show before. A kid who I watched the show with was in the movie in multiple scenes. Nick Merlino, he was in the bit where they were in the very beginning where they like set up ramps on the people, and then he was in like the musical chairs bit where Wee Man flipping into he was in that one as well. So surreal to just like he and I used to watch this show together as kids, and now he's in the fucking movies. It was just cool. But anyway, they all seem happy and healthy. Like they all look good. Steve-O looks incredible, which makes no sense whatsoever with the amount of drugs that he did.
He's doing very well.
Extremely.
Good for him.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it was entertaining. It wasn't overly gross, which I had heard you say there was like a part that made you almost puke. There were a few scenes I could not watch. The bees on the dick, I didn't watch at all. Veronica,
that didn't bother me at all.
Had to like dictate. She had to dictate that scene to me. Because I just couldn't. I don't know. I just couldn't.
You like it a way to dictate.
But yeah, it was good to see some newcomers sort of get the spotlight on them. Some of them, I will say, seemed like they didn't want to be there. Preston, what's his name? Preston.
I don't remember.
The big fat guy. Preston Lacey. Thank you, honey.
Really
seemed like he was just there for the paycheck. He did not seem like he had his heart in it, which I don't blame him.
I mean, he even in the old ones, he was constantly like, he was like, I'm over this, like all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Which was part of the charm.
I watched a little excerpt from Steve-O's podcast where he had Preston Lacey on. And it turns out his career, he started off as just like a writer. Like he just wrote skits. And so Jeff Tremaine, I guess his connect was through Wee Man. And so Wee Man knew Jeff Tremaine. And he's like, hey, write a couple skits for me so I can like look good to this guy who's making this television show. And so he, Wee Man took the skits from Preston Lacey, gave them to Jeff Tremaine. And Jeff was like, okay, cool. That guy's going to do these skits, though. So like that's how we ended up on Jackass. He's just a writer. And he wrote these scenes that they thought they were funny. And they were like, well, we can't afford a writer and an actor, so you're just going to have to be both. And so that's how he ended up on the show. I don't know. I just found that interesting, but
that's fun.
Anyway, it was just great to see them back together. I'm going to end up talking in circles. It was a good movie. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Same page. It was like seeing old friends again.
Yeah.
You're like, you old rascals. And yeah, I mean, I was describing, I was like, I was talking to somebody. I was like, they do some of the stunts that they've done in previous movies, like they like redo them. And at first I was like, oh, really? But there's something about, it's like watching a band play their greatest hits in a certain way.
Yeah.
And let's be real here. Knoxville got hit way fucking harder by that bull this time around.
That was hard to watch.
And he is so much older. So they show him in the end credits. If you watch the end credits, like spoofs, they show the younger Knoxville. He looks like a fucking baby. And I remember the skit.
Yeah.
In the ring with the bull. And yeah, he gets hit. He gets thrown a little bit, but he jumps up immediately, runs and jumps out like a spring fucking chicken. And this one, he does like in the first one, he does like a half flip, and then he like lands and gets up and he does like a full 360 and he did like a 540 in the fucking air. and he lands on his like side / chest and breaks a wrist and something else, a rib or something was cracked.
I think the wrist actually hit the bull's horn on the way down. Like it just whipped around and just cracked on it. He landed on like his shoulder, back, neck, head. So like his skull took the brunt of that. Yeah, so that's why he passed the fuck out.
Yeah, he got knocked out. Like, I mean, he got really hurt on that one. And that's why you were like, oh, the new guys take the brunt of that. I was like, well, with some exceptions.
Well, dude,
he's still pulling.
And they showed everyone's reaction. And like, what's funny is in the old ones, they're all kids. And so whenever someone got really fucked up, they'd be like, oh, fucking Bam got hurt. Dude, they were all like, oh my God, is he okay? Call a medic. Like, they were freaking out at first.
Yeah. I mean, as they should be.
Yeah, he's 50. Literally, he's 50. Right? Yeah. I think he's 50.
Yeah.
We did this before.
We have done this before. No, I think he is like 49 or something. Like he's about to turn 50. I'm going to say 49. I'll wait for it.
He is 51 years old. So 50 at the time the movie was filmed. Yep.
I was a wrong person. Yeah, anyway, yeah.
You were off by 1 year. How dare you?
So the pig semen sketch is the one that I almost threw up.
Right. Okay. That surprisingly didn't bother me. I don't know, because the horse semen one I cannot watch. But
anyway, that was rough. But I mean, it was a good time, and we're not just gonna sit here and go, remember that sketch? Because I know it's not funny. But I will say that the one where they put the guy, just a couple of guys in these rooms, and then black them out.
Oh, dude, it was so good. Yeah,
and just start fucking with them, and they're like throwing stuff at them, and hitting them with trash can lids, and then they're like, look, come this way, and it's filled with like tasers and shit. Yeah. And the one big guy, the new big guy, he like jumps over the fucking table in the dark to try and get out. There's mouse traps. And just hear them be like, what the fuck? Like,
dude, how fucked up is it though that they made him think that he got bit, and then Johnny was like, being faux serious, like, hang on, don't move, don't freak out. We got to get the lights back, like really selling it and making him think that he just got bit by like the world's most poisonous fucking viper.
He was like, I'm gonna have a heart attack. Yeah. Special shout out to oh shit, damn, I'm an asshole. I forget his name. Jasper's father, Dark Shark, because he looked like he did not sign up for this shit.
Yeah,
he like his son, like really, he was probably like, oh, you're hanging out with the Jackass guys, that's cool. Like, and then he was like, yeah, Dad, do you want to, because he was not down with the spider bit.
Dude, grabbing everyone's shirt around. Can you imagine? His arms are like my legs, dude.
Well, my favorite sign of those guys just being bros is that despite they saw how freaked out he was, and at the end, even though he lost, they were like, Aaron lost, and they made Aaron do the next part of it, get bit on the nipple, because they were like, yeah, we're not going to make your dad do that. Okay, both liked it. So this is a 50-50 conversation about Paramount Plus and the content on it. Halo Episode 1 released. So Halo, I'm gonna start off with this one.
Yeah, you take the reins.
I cannot talk about Halo, and to a lesser extent Jackass, but I had less issues with Jackass because I pushed it to the TV. My wife and I watched it. You can't really talk about Halo without talking about Paramount Plus. And the service is garbage. There's like nothing on it unless you're 60 and like to watch NCIS. I apologize. There's also a few Star Trek things, but again, I'm not into it. I'm not saying it's bad. I heard Picard was good. I'm not into it. So literally the only two things I had even a slight interest in were Jackass Forever and Halo. And Halo is more of a morbid curiosity thing. So the app is fine. It functioned well enough when I casted it to my TV. The web browser experience of Paramount Plus was horrendous. You cannot change quality of the stream manually in browser, which is mind-bogglingly stupid because you would assume people have a better, more stable connection on that, which I do. And I was trying to watch Halo in 1080p. And it kept downgrading my fucking quality for no reason. I have a 300 by 300 fucking Fios connection.
Yeah. And
for some reason, it just kept, I would reload the page and it would be 1080 and look great. And it would slowly pixelate and get worse and worse. And I was like, I can't watch it like this. And I had to fucking stop and finish it the next day. I know that makes me sound like a technology prude, but it was literally Like, we're trying to judge like the visual effects, and I'm like, that could look phenomenal. I can't tell. It's just as blurry as the human with the weird Alabama haircut. Anyway, Halo's fucking bad. The show's bad. It's this show is it screams Sci-Fi Channel so loudly that I feel like it'll be on Sci-Fi next year, whether or not they have the rights, like just by nature of how poorly it is acted and how bad the CGI looks. Before the show came out, we kept hearing that the creators were like, oh, we didn't follow the games. We didn't play them. We just know the lore, and we're trying to build something unique and get prepared for Master Chief to take his helmet off, because we're doing that in episode 1. Look, I like Pablo Schreiber, and I, for what it's worth, thought he did okay in this. Mm-hmm. But it just goes to show like a weird misunderstanding of the source material. In some cases, just translates to a shit show. And don't get me wrong, the storyline's not the only part I had issue with in the show. The CGI was fucking horrible. It was really worse than the games.
And they like used it in spots that didn't need it. That was the weirdest thing to me. One of the things that I think that the show did well, and some people are saying the other, I don't know, maybe I saw it wrong or something, but like the non-CGI Mjolnir armor, I thought looked really good. Like it looks like, it looked really well done. So I'm like, there are certain scenes where it's literally just like, MC up on top of a car, like shooting, and then he jumps down, but they did CGI. I'm like, you have a perfectly good looking
I like
suit.
that you called him MC, even though like it's like you guys are old buddies.
Right. Yeah.
We are kind of old buddies, right?
MC, and it's like, why? Like literally just have the dude in the suit just go like with his gun and then jump off the fucking thing. Like, why did you do that in CGI?
Maybe they only had one suit and they could break it.
Dude, the physics of the CGI, that's the worst part. Like,
it was so lightweight.
Yeah. It just looks weird. Here's my thought on it. I'm a bigger Halo fan than you are. I'm not a fan of the new ones. Other than Infinite, I did actually like enjoy that a lot.
Same page.
But like Reach, I really liked. Everything between Reach and Infinite was dog shit. Story-wise, anyway. So 1, 2, and 3, I actually really like. Even whether it's nostalgia that fuels that or not, I have no idea. This is my weed lighter. You can tell because there's ash on the bottom.
Oh, nice.
Because that's where I sort of put out my bowl. But anyway, one thing I was kind of like, oh God, am I going to be wrong about this show? Like, is this actually going to be good? Because in the beginning they establish lore from the books, which is that, this is a common setting for sci-fi. Basically, the humans are in the middle of an expansion. And so you have like the inner colonies and then you have the outer rim. And so Reach, for instance, is the furthest planet in the inner rim. This is where most of the like resources, most of the people live, most of the infrastructure, technology is in the inner colonies. And then you have the outer rim, which basically gets the scraps. And so this planet it takes place on that I already forgot about is in the outer rim. And so basically the Spartan 2 project was funded by Catherine Halsey. Well, not funded by her. I'm sorry. She was funded to do the Spartan 2 program, not to fight the Covenant. When the Spartans were made and trained and biologically enhanced and their suits were made, the Covenant was not even known to exist. They were made to basically wage war against rebel outer rim colonies that were basically trying to take over inner world
Shut
colonies.
that shit down.
Because you could essentially send one Spartan to a planet and he could fuck up the whole planet. Or at least a region. You understand what I'm saying? So like when I saw that they were like setting that up in the beginning of the episode, when they were setting that up, I was like, wow, is this going to be like kind of interesting? No. Nope. Any interest that it could have possibly had ended within like 4 minutes. The CGI is so unacceptably bad.
Oh God.
I know we already touched on that, but like, just to agree with you, it's like, it's not just bad. We can take bad CGI, but this was like terrible. This was like 2002. This was like Lost season 3 CGI, like just terrible. There's something that I will never be able to get over. And it's just that for 20 some odd years, anytime the Master Chief speaks, first of all, he doesn't speak much, and that's a part of his character. He's a man of few words. But every time he talks, I am used to, and I don't even know the fella's name, but his voice. And so even if you get a guy who's a good actor and who understands the character, whatever, whenever he talks, I'm just going to have this like, I get deflated a little bit because doesn't have that like oomph behind it. It's just a guy. I will say this, at least he's not trying to sound like Master Chief. He's just like, I'm just going to talk in my voice. It's going to be a little gruff and that's what it is. It would probably be more annoying if he was like trying to do that voice. Right. But they're hacking up the source material. Commander Keyes is now Dr. Halsey's daughter. Like, why? Like, what's the point? Why would that? It's just not necessary. It's they had this like, I actually don't really remember the latter half of the episode because I really lost interest. But there's this thing where like, he's given an order to kill this survivor and like, he won't do, and it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. Like the Spartans, again, in the books and in the video games, obviously, some people have like their doubts about them because they were initially made to subjugate rebels. Like that was their purpose. And so the first thing anybody ever heard about Spartans was that they would show up at these rebel colonies and they would basically just fuck them up. And then when the Covenant was found and thank God we have this Spartan 2 program to fight these things, they became basically like deific. Like, did I use that word right? I think so. They were like sort of demigods, and like them showing up on a deified. That's it. Them showing up on a battlefield was like a symbol of hope. It's like the chief is here, you know?
Yeah. Hence the Halo epic fucking music that comes in.
Yeah. Oh. And so to have this like, oh, actually he was thinking about killing her for a little bit there was just kind of like, for me, getting to Halo Infinite and going through years of this and seeing that he was thinking about deleting Weapon in Infinite, spoilers for Infinite, sorry, was like, it took us years and years and years of seeing him get to that point and be broken and beaten down by like loss and losing friends and losing Cortana to get to this point where he even considered deleting Weapon. And then ultimately, of course, he didn't. He did the right thing. That's what Chief always does. So the fact that ultimately he did the right thing. He didn't kill her. I get that. But it was just annoying to me that they're selling him as this like sort of maybe bad guy that's like teetering on the edge of morality. Like that's not Chief. That's not what he is. I don't know. It just didn't, I knew it wasn't going to do it for me, but it really didn't do it for me.
And it was so extra disappointing.
Very disappointing. So disappointing, in fact, that I know we have a 2-episode rule, but the fact that I would have to be charged money to watch the second episode to a show I really didn't like, there's no way I can commit to that. Once it's like out and downloadable, maybe on a Saturday where it's rainy and I'm doing nothing, I'll watch a couple episodes, but there's no way I'm buying those episodes.
Yeah, no, listeners, we're sorry. I also agree, and this is the first time in 61 episodes that we've said I'm not watching a second. Yeah. I think the show's that poor that I until I can watch it for free. I had to cancel my Paramount Plus trial because they were going to charge me tomorrow for a dog shit service with dog shit content. So that means my trial expires tomorrow. I don't know when the new episode comes out. I don't frankly care. I might, if we ever get it on the Plex or something, I might watch another episode or two just to see if it continues. No, I agree. And here's the thing, like the UNSC, at least in the games, and I know there's lore in the books that you're talking about, and that does sound interesting, but in the beginning of the games, we were the good guys. The UNSC, not just Master Chief, but like the UNSC was out fighting the Covenant, protecting humanity. And I love the layers of, the Spartans were actually first made to quell the human rebellions. And I would have loved if that's how the show started. Like him just going to a planet, being the savior of humanity, being looked at like a fucking hero. And then as the series goes on, realizing that there's more layers to this, and maybe him finding out that he was made to quell the rebellion. Maybe he doesn't know that for some reason. Finding out that he was built to quell the rebellion and not just to fight and protect humanity. And like, I don't know, just something to make him disillusioned with the UNSC over time to make the turn of like turning his back on them more interesting. As it all happened in the first fucking episode. And I was like, what? I don't know. Someone who didn't know a lot about the Halo lore. I didn't know that they were originally built to quell rebellion. So the whole show just felt like a ugh. How some people didn't like the way Luke was characterized in Last Jedi. That's how I felt about the show. I was like, I was like, what? These people hate him? I'm so weirded the fuck out. I want people to see him and be like, we're saved. I just.
That's also not like, but like, so that's not too far off though, because again, people see them as biological freaks because they are. So they had in the games, it continues on. I will not ramble on this for too long.
No.
There's
it's okay.
the Spartan 3 program where basically there were less genetic enhancements that didn't in the Spartan 2 program, like 60% of them were either disfigured or died from the genetic enhancements. But the 40% that survived were like massively stronger, taller, smarter, quicker thinking, just everything.
Right.
But most of them died. So they basically like made a less effective but less lethal version of that for the Spartan 3 program. And then by the time the Spartan 4s came around, there's no genetic modification whatsoever. They just made the suits so efficient that
Powerful.
they make up for that. So the Spartan 2s are very much still seen as like freaks, in universe. But once that's the whole point. Like once people encounter them, they go, oh, these are good people. Like these are humans behind that armor. The whole point of Chief never taking his helmet off is that he seems like this imposing robot, but he's doing things that prove that he's a human being inside there. That's why we never see his face, because you just have to take his word for it essentially. And he proves it time and time again. This show had none of that, dude. Like none of that. And even the original Bungie games were not that in depth. I'm just saying, like even the lack of depth that was there, this had even less than that. So I don't know.
I don't think you watched this, but I would have rather have had them handle Master Chief like they handled the robot in Lost in Space on the relaunched Netflix series. Yeah, so it's not a bad series. It drags its feet a lot, so sometimes it's hard to like. The series feels slow sometimes, especially season 1. Anyway, we're not talking about that today. The robot in that show. Obviously, we all know the story. He takes kind of a liking to Will Robinson, the child of the family, and really, like the robot in the show he's a killing machine, and the rest of the family, like no one trusts it. Over time, they see the robot like genuinely caring and protecting the son, and the father obviously is very protective of his son. He's like, I don't want you near that thing, and over a while comes to, if not trust it himself, understand that it's there to protect him and his family. And obviously a one-to-one with Master Chief doesn't make sense, but something more like that, where like you're saying, like they don't know what he's about and he shows up and they're like, oh shit, there's the genetic freak. And then he saves all of them. They're like, oh, like he's here to help everybody. Like we should, I don't know. There's something about the way that they set up the story from go that I just am not on board with. It's not capturing to me. Again, I think Pablo is a good actor. And honestly, even with the little he's given here, I think he does an okay job. But the minute she was like pointing a gun at him and he takes his helmet off and he's like, if you want to hurt me, you got to shoot up here. I was like, that was the dumbest reason to take your helmet off. Yeah. Like that whole scene held no weight for me. And you're already turning your back on the UNSC. Like I don't like any of this. In the reviews, last thing I'll say is we did hear some unfortunate comparisons to Mandalorian, and normally I'd be like, nah, not really. I totally see the comparison of it being a hollow, like Mandalorian with Lone Wolf and Cub ripoff of them being like, let's give someone to humanize Master Chief, which is a weird fucking decision because you decided to take his helmet off immediately. Yeah. Like if you're going to do that, go full Mandalorian and just keep it on for a while.
Yeah, don't the
reveal
last
it.
episode. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. The show sucks. Don't watch it, please. Yeah. Or watch it for free and don't pay money.
Yeah.
I think they already renewed it for a second season. I want them to regret their decision. I want them to regret it like into their graves. Like,
I hope that's based on the free trials that everyone's about to cancel.
Yeah. I hope like the executive who greenlighted it, like on his tombstone says, my one regret was Halo Season 2 renewals. Nothing about his family. Fuck that guy. Mostly because of what he did here. Okay, 2 things left. One is Our Flag Means Death. Wow, we're going a little longer tonight. We're going to wrap this up. Our Flag Means Death wrapped up season 1. 10 episodes, half-hour episodes. I said it earlier, so I'm going to say it again real quick and then let you talk about it. This show was such a weird and wonderful show. And I've seen a lot of Taika Waititi stuff. And I know that he has a track record of taking something we know and kind of spinning it on its head. Jojo Rabbit, for example. The kid sees Hitler, and you don't hate Hitler in that because it's not really Hitler, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He plays Blackbeard in this, and a couple times throughout the show, they kind of tease like maybe he likes Steed more than just a buddy. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, they would never do that though. And silly me, because like someone made a joke about him liking Steed too much and he should put him down like a puppy heaven. That whole fucking episode was great. The art of fuckery. And then they do it and they have a romantic embrace and it is genuinely heartwarming. And I can't wait for season 2. I can't wait. If they cancel the show, I'm going to be fucking mad because I can't wait to see Steed and Edward meet back up. I want to see their fucking, I want to see their fucking gay adventures in the high seas together. It would be fantastic. I can't wait. I don't know what to say about the show. It's endearing.
It's unbelievably endearing. It's a sleeper hit. It's not the show I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like an uproariously funny time or something. It's not. Like it's funny. Like it has very funny moments even, but it's not like that's not its primary thing. It's just like presenting you charming characters. Like you mentioned Steed and Ed, of course they're the main two people.
Right.
But the supporting cast is incredible and you care about what's happening to them. Nothing deep is happening. Like nothing like like not exploring the human condition. It's just sweet little just interactions with one another. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're poignant. I feel like the stupidest person on the face of the planet because the episode where Ed fucks off with Calico Jack, and then goes back to the ship, and he's like, "You came back for me," and he says, "I never left," and they kind of play footsies for a minute. Veronica goes like, "Oh, they're so cute," and I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, they're building them up to be a gay couple." I was like, I did not see that this entire time. Has that really been the whole show?
Got me.
Yeah, like I had no idea that was happening right in front of my eyes. And it was a very sweet moment. Like when they kissed when they went to prison, not prison, the like military camp or whatever, where they the Oath of Grace or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah.
That was a very sweet moment. And like I'm not one to not that I'm homophobic at all, but I've never gone out of my way to watch like Brokeback Mountain or anything just because I can't relate to it as a straight man.
It's a good movie.
I've always heard that. One day I'll watch it. It's not like I'm like, I don't like that gay stuff. That's not what I'm saying. It's just never been at the top of my list.
Do you remember the public discourse around that movie when it came out? Jesus.
Yeah.
If they could see 2022.
But no kidding. But no, I thought it was really sweet. It was a very, very sweet moment. And it was very, very heartbreaking when they had that misunderstanding where, basically Ed becomes Blackbeard again. He hopefully did not kill Lucius because I ended up really becoming attached to Lucius. He's sort of the voice of reason. They kind of do this like this Kansas City shuffle where they make you think he's just like this goofy, sassy gay guy. But he kind of is always like the one who's like, hey, here's what you're doing. And you're a dickhead for doing that. So stop doing it. Like be a person. Yeah. I just love that about him. He's so like. And then he's always like, you can stab me in the face now. Like he's just such a bitch. That's
exactly what I was talking about. It's the treasure hunt thing. And he's like, can't you see that he is doing all this for you?
Yeah.
And he's like, he rants at Edward for like 5 minutes. And he's like, you can stab me in the face now.
Yeah. No, I fucking
loved it.
And that's every character. Like we could go through the rounds and talk about every single one of them, but that would take forever. They're all good. Like none of them are, even the ones who are assholes. Like Izzy is just like he has an interesting thing going on. He's like, he doesn't believe in Ed like Steed does. He believes in Blackbeard. He wants that like ferocious pirate, and he's sort of
the
like
guy with a little bit of a lisp and he's bald.
He's not bald. He's Blackbeard's second in command when they meet up with Steve.
different
the
guy
who talks like this. He was in the Batman as well. He was like one of the corrupt cops.
Oh yeah, true. He was.
But in any event, it was very heartbreaking, that finale. Like you see, well, there were things that were heartwarming about it. There's a moment that Veronica and I really loved where he is talking to his wife and she's going through and he says, well, how do you know you love this guy? I think his name was Derek, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. Anyway,
it was Derek because I remember laughing about it.
So she's saying all these things like, oh, I know I love him because X, Y, and Z. And Steed is having these memories of Ed where all of those things are sort of being fulfilled. And he goes, tells her about it. And then she says, well, what's her name? And he just says, and I thought, well, this takes place in the 1800s or 1700s. So he's going to go like, oh, his name's John, like just bullshit it.
Yeah.
And he just had this moment where he went, his name's Ed. And she was like happy for him. Like, oh, you found it too.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Look, I kind of got choked up. It was just, the show is just so sweet. It just makes you feel good. But then of course, in the end, Ed, he doesn't think, he kind of was abandoned by Steed.
Yeah.
And so he goes, you know what? I'm going to go back to my toxic behavior because at least I knew what to expect when I was in that, that hole. So dude, Veronica and I are and I've said this on the show plenty of times. I like one and done seasons. I like miniseries. We finish the show, and every time we load up HBO Max, it's in there recently watched, and we're like, I can't fucking wait for season 2. Like it's such a sweet show. It
really is.
It's just like, there's something about it that's just like honest. And I don't know how to describe it. It's the most unique show. That's what I mean. It's becoming like my favorite show that I've seen in years for a reason that I can't define. And that's what's so important.
It's weird.
About it. So I can't recommend it enough. Unfortunately, we have the spoiler alert at the beginning of the episode, and we just gave away the whole fucking season. It's still worth a watch just to see these things unfold if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
It's really, really an incredible show.
Yeah, it is. The part I was trying to think of was Black Pete, played by Matthew.
Black Pete,
Marr. And he's constantly trying to like prove himself to Blackbeard, and when Blackbeard when Blackbeard leaves and they think they have Steed again, and it's not even a nice moment. It was just made me chuckle so much. He was like, I always like to think of myself as more Blackbeard's crew than Steed's crew, and they're like, Blackbeard doesn't even know who you are. Like, he's always trying to like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just, even the characters that were like kind of assholes the whole time, I still kind of found like endearing. I'm like, you lovable rascals.
Yeah.
Nat Faxon playing the Swede who has scurvy and eating all the oranges. Like, my tooth came out. Is that supposed to happen? Anyway, wonderful show. I can't recommend it enough. I'm glad that we both loved it. It was great, and I can't wait to see season 2 because I want Steed and fucking Edward to get back together. And I think they're gonna make me wait at least half the second season to do that, which is gonna be a bummer because I literally want, like, it sounds so stupid, but I want him to run back on the ship and explain why the misunderstanding took place and just fucking be bros.
Yeah,
go on adventures. Anyway, okay. So also I pointed this out to you in a previous episode, but loosely based on real people.
Yeah.
Steed and Blackbeard knew each other in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently sailed, with each other for a little bit of time. Obviously there was no, I don't think, concrete mentions of a relationship between them, but homosexuality was a real thing on pirate vessels. I mean, It's nothing but dudes on those ships. It's more or less the same thing that might spark a lot of homosexuality in prison where they're same sex. And again, I'm not saying that they did it just because there's no other reason. But yeah, I mean, that was prevalent in pirate community. And so it's not as crazy of a show as you think, besides all the ridiculous shenanigans they always find themselves in, and how Steed always manages to come out unscathed despite himself. Anyway, wonderful show. Please go watch it. Last but not least, and we'll give brief thoughts on this because we're coming up on 2 hours here.
Yeah.
Sicario. We finally watched it. This is what I wanted to say. I've been dying to say this ever since I watched it. First off, I thought it was a fantastic movie. It's very unsettling almost all the way through. There were moral quandaries left and right. There are just horrifying things to look at. Like right on Front Street, right when the movie starts, there's some really terrible stuff that happens with some hostages that they thought they were going to find, and they find them in walls just dead with bags over their heads. Like, the cartel is an extremely ugly business. I'm not giving a synopsis of the movie. It's from 2015. If you've seen it, cool. If not, go watch it. It's worth a watch. I'm watching the movie, and I know Benicio's in it, and I know Emily Blunt's in it, and I know Roland's in it. It's like halfway through, and our fucking boy shows up, John Bernthal, and I went, "Oh shit!"
Surprise, John Bernthal. I didn't know he was in it either. Yeah.
And I went, "Oh shit!" This movie gets better and better, and then he turns out to be such a scumbag that I was like, "Oh no!" I really liked this movie. It's unsettling to watch. Yeah. I thought it was wonderfully shot.
Amazingly shot.
Cinematography is really just crisp. But yeah, it's a really hard to stomach look at the world of drug cartels and fighting them and how you fight them. I mean, what kind of jurisdiction we have to go over borders to do that. And the moral quandaries that some of those officers find themselves in. And I wouldn't call the ending a happy ending at all. I just thought it was great. What did you think about it?
I thought it was excellent. There were some story beats that sort of went over my head. The only time that I had to watch this was first thing in the morning on Saturday. So Odin woke up really early. And so he took
you want to watch some people die?
He took his first nap really early. And so I watched it. I started this heavy ass drama.
It was heavy.
At like 8:45 in the morning. So like,
oh no.
I'm like, if I don't watch it now, like I'm going to miss it again. And then we can't talk about it. So I'm just like, whatever, I'll just watch it. There were some story beats I didn't really like. I was like, wait, what's going on right now? Like I didn't fully understand. But the thematic elements of it did not go over my head. And I think that it was just basically a look into morality and how, we basically have Emily Blunt, who was great. She was excellent. And I feel like they put her in there as a self-insert for your average everyday person to, see the events that are unfolding in the movie.
Right.
And so I found her character to be really frustrating because I'm like a pragmatist and I'm really just straight up like, well, if there's a bad guy out there and he's hurting people, then just kill the bad guy. Like just get it out of the way and then it's done.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie made this brilliant point where there is no way upon looking back on it and reflecting on it that it was not intentional for you to feel frustrated with Emily Blunt, because she's sort of throughout the movie, like she's on the lowest rung of the ladder. She's just a part of a State Department, and these are international departments where you find out they're just keeping her there because in order to be in a domestic affair, they need a domestic, representative there.
I was like, holy shit.
It was like another way they show like Brolin is, okay, he's CIA, but he's doing shitty stuff to do his goal, which is to kill the cartel member because he's doing shitty stuff. He even hires a member of another cartel, which is Benicio del Toro, to kill this guy as basically, as an assassin, because he just needs to get the job done. And it keeps there's all these layers of like, who's really the asshole and who's really the good guy and who's like, and so Emily Blunt just being this like, well, we should be doing this by the book. And you're like, come on, like, just get on board. Like you get frustrated. And ultimately, I think that was the whole point. In the end, you had Benicio del Toro, who you see is a sweet person. He tells her, like, you remind me of my daughter. He sits down and he just does this brilliant thing where he says to he sits down with the cartel leader, and his two sons and his wife are at the table. And he says, do they speak English? And he says, no. And he says, okay, then let's talk in English. And so it makes you, the viewer, think that he is just there to kill the cartel leader and that he doesn't want to scare the family. And he builds this guy up into thinking that, to the point where he's all confident, like, you can kill me. I don't give a shit. He's like, okay. And shoots his fucking two young sons and wife. And then tells him, finish your dinner. And the dude just starts to panic. And then he shoots him. And it's so like this guy, the other guy, Silvio, who the whole movie, I'm like, what the fuck is the point? Is this guy's like, what is his arc in this movie? He was the cop or he was state police in Mexico. He was a drug runner. Again, another question of morality. We see throughout the movie that he's not a bad guy. It's just, that's like my I don't know if this is like some racist white guy understanding of Mexican police, but apparently a lot of them are very corrupt and they do have to run drugs to not be killed by the cartels. They're basically like in their pocket. So it's like, you see that he loves his son. There's a part where he goes to like touch the rifle. It's like, never touch that. He doesn't want him to hurt himself. He takes him to all his soccer games. He always wakes up with him to like have dinner or breakfast with him. You see, he's a good guy. So the whole movie, you're like, what, how does he tie into this? And then like Benicio del Toro just kills him. Like he didn't even need to.
Like he was meaningless.
Like he was nothing. And you're
like, heartbreaking, actually.
And even though he's a drug runner for a cartel, you feel bad for him. And so in the end,
because they do it the whole movie, and I'm sorry to interject.
That's
but
okay.
You're like, what about his family?
Yeah.
He just died in the middle of the road in the middle of nowhere.
Reason.
That's
no
it.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And ultimately, okay, so Benicio del Toro kills the cartel member, and you think, well, everything's good, right? The bad guy is dead. And he forces Emily Blunt's character to sign that and say that it was done by the book, she goes to shoot him, and maybe she has this moment of self-reflection where she realizes he's right. You could, however you want to apply that scene where she points her gun at him and then she decides not to shoot him. Whatever that meant to you is just whatever it meant to you. To me, I think it was her acceptance of saying like, oh, you're right. And I think that was the ultimate thing for us, the viewer, to go, oh, all right. Emily Blunt eventually did come around and realize that all these guys that are assholes are actually correct. And then the final scene is that kid whose dad was the drug runner who gets killed. Now his mom's taking him to his soccer games, obviously because his dad's dead. And in the middle of the soccer game, it's just like a Sunday soccer game with all the kids. There's just gunfire in the background and everybody has to stop what they're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And make sure that like nobody, and then like the gunfire stops and everybody's just like, okay, we can go again. And then the movie just fucking ends. And that's when you realize nobody was right in this movie. Because killing that guy changed nothing whatsoever. There's still the violence. There's still kids playing soccer that are hearing, like, in the close vicinity, fucking automatic weaponry. Like, it's nothing changed. So all these people, like, I hate to sound like Nietzsche, but it's like be wary when fighting monsters lest you become one. I feel like that was the whole point of the movie. It's like these people all became scummier and scummier, and they made you, the viewer, think that was the right thing to, like, get the job done. But the job didn't even get done. Like, it's, there's still assholes out there. Like, I don't know. I thought it was so fucking good, dude. It was incredible. It was such a
surprisingly nihilistic movie.
Very, very nihilistic.
Thanks, Sadie, for taking a water drink right now. I saw her face come over while you were talking and just stop right here and look at me. And I was just like, come here, and you want to scratch. I gotta go take her out. She's gotta go to the bathroom. It was a fantastic film, and I think that as of right now, Denny V has my sign off. Like, anything I know that he's going to do next, I'm interested in, because I can't think of a movie he's made that I didn't enjoy, like, thoroughly, like, really like, both as a beautiful movie and also just as a story. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Our main topics. That was it. We're going to have Moon Knight to talk about next week.
Oh, tight. Okay. I didn't realize
March 30th, 29th. Yeah, it's like 2 days, I think it comes out.
Very nice.
Toy. Well, that's all I got. Toy.
It's a good sign off. We should do that from now on.
Where can everybody find you at?
You can find me just on Twitter, Dr. Gloom MD, DRGLOOMMD.
I wasn't ready to pantomime that.
I was trying to get it out while you were still taking a sip so that you could not.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Kind of works. It kind of works.
It worked. It's good.
You can find me on, I'm just going to say Twitter right now. Okay. I haven't been streaming. I'm sorry. Twitch and Twitter, TCN Plays. I'm still in the middle of a layout overhaul, and I've been using that as an excuse to try and beat Elden Ring every weeknight, which I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get there.
Oh, I beat Elden Ring. I wanted to give a review, but it's too late.
Yeah, we got to wait till I beat it, and then we'll do it.
I was going to give a free one, but that's okay. I'll wait. That's okay.
I've completed all the underground segments. I'm officially done. I was doing, people who live underground for too long and they get like depressed about not seeing the sun. I felt like that.
Right.
I cleared all that. I am in Altus Plateau. I know I still have a little bit to go, but I feel like I'm closer to the end than I am the beginning at this point. So that's progress. So I'm trying to wrap it up. I'm going to play tonight after I mix the podcast. Yeah, that's it though. We'll see you guys next week. It's episode 61, Ghostbussin, which I'm definitely using for the title. Man, I could think of some thumbnails for that too, but I got to get with the whack-a-mole.
That has
Will
to
Smith.
Be it. It's 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
It's too relevant.
Punxsutawney Rock. Punxsutawney Chris. I don't know. That's a good one too. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good week, and I love you.
I love you. I also love you. Feels cheap when I say it.
In your head, I feel like you were like, was that to me or to like the people who are listening? The answer is yes. All right, bye.
Bye.